Talamoana, everybody, and welcome to a special edition of the Still Sane Pod. I am here with the man, the myth, the legend himself, Hawg. How you doing, man?
How about it, y'all? How about it? I don't know about legend. Maybe legendary idiot.
Uh, I still remember in the lead up to Diablo 4, the tinfoil hat videos. That's how I was first introduced to you, man. That's pretty legendary. Okay.
What a great intro to everybody too. Like, oh, this is Hog the conspiracy theorist. I was like, it's not a conspiracy. I've got proof. I got the evidence. Put the evidence in the car. But Daddy, put the evidence in the
You were right. You were right, weren't you?
Yeah, I've been right about a lot so far. We're just, details.
And
Details.
and for people on my channel who may have not been exposed to you before, what has been your journey? Because you're an ARPG content creator. You played D4 and then you found a different game, maybe, I think, right?
Well, yeah. So, I was a Diablo creator, not officially. I'm not a partner, but I
Right.
made Diablo 3 videos. I've been playing Diablo for 20 years since 2000. Actually played Diablo 2 before the expansion, 2 weeks after launch.
Oh,
And
wow.
my next door neighbor was playing it. And I went in the basement. He was sitting at his computer, and I'll never forget. I walked behind him. He was at Charcy in Act 1, and he was putting stuff on. I think it was a dagger or short swords he was putting on. I said, "What are you playing?" Because at that point, I'd only played like I was real big in Sierra Adventure games growing up, and we played like PlayStation games and stuff, but nothing like an ARPG. So this is my first exposure to an ARPG, and he's like, "Oh, it's Diablo 2." So literally the next Sunday, every Sunday after church, we went to Target, and there it was. And I begged my mom, I was like, "Please buy me this
Oh,
game." And of course, she's super Bible beater Catholic and sees the cover, and she's like, "Diablo, no." And I was like, "No, no, no, Mama! Like it's the we're from heaven fighting hell, and that's what sold it." She's like, "Oh, well, you can have it then." So that's what started the whole thing. And we made actually have a fishing channel. That's what I started with. And then a couple of my buddies in my 150 group for Diablo 3 said, "Oh, do some Diablo videos, man. That'd be pretty cool to see someone like you do Diablo videos." So the rest was history after that. And Diablo 4 happened. Everybody knows what happened with that. And
yeah.
a bunch of people said to try Path of Exile, and it's I've never played. It's hooked me so hard. I feel like I swallowed a hook, and the GGG gods just set the hook on my ass, and it got me good. It's ridiculous. Now my girlfriend plays it.
Oh,
She's
awesome.
probably in there right now. Now she's doing delve. She's never played a video game before ever, and she's like level 150 delve. I'm like, you
That's
kidding me?
insane.
Yeah, dude.
That's awesome. Have you guys tried playing any co-op in PoE1 yet?
So a little bit, but because she's new. She likes to do stuff herself. So,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, let's just run a map together, baby. And like, we came out the portal. I had my armor stacker. I immediately come out and started wiping everything. And I look on the mini map. She's still at the portal. And I was like, oh, I know she hates this already. Like, cause I'm clearing everything and she's not getting to do it. So here come the whisper. She said, I don't want you to do this with me. Like, I want to do it myself. And I was like, all right.
No, I
Now
totally
she's
get
like
that,
level
dude.
91. She's the news
PoE1, I
wore
mean,
off. And
co-op in PoE1 is rough. So, we're going to talk about it a little bit later. I played some PoE2 co-op. That is an actual experience.
yeah, it looked
I,
really cool.
very cool to hear that you're playing it with your girlfriend because, yeah, when it comes out and it's going to launch with co-op too, oof, that's going to be a fun time. So
Yeah,
that
it's
actually is what
epic.
we're going to talk about, everyone. We're going to talk a little bit about, Necropolis, a tiny bit near the tail end of the pod, but the main juice of today is talking about Path of Exile 2 and everything that's upcoming with it. Because, I just listened to an interview with Catmaster OP and Balor Mage when they talked to Jonathan Rogers at that console event. And Jonathan brought me up and said, Talkative Try, the most positive person in the universe. I've been watching your videos, Hog, about Path of Exile 2,
Mhm.
and you seem pretty damn positive. So let me know, what are you looking forward to with PoE2? Just first impressions of the game.
Um, well, to be fair, I don't think I was super. I had bad feelings about it to begin with during ExileCon. But I did this with Diablo 4, and if leading up to Diablo 4, I was a little harsh towards other people because how do we know something negative about a game that we ain't played? And so it's one of the kind of rules I try to adhere to is like, let's play it first and then we can tear it apart if we have to. But if we don't know anything about it, it's hard to be real critical. I think a lot of the problem too is a lot of people are looking at PoE2 through the lens of PoE1, which I think is not the right thing to do. But I felt like the game was going to be really slow, and then now that I've seen this, I feel like they fixed it because this new update everyone's been playing. I watched your stuff. I watched Lance's stuff. I watched Velna play solo. It doesn't feel slow anymore. It doesn't look slow. It looks good. So all of those concerns have been dispelled. Um, but the main thing that I'm noticing is A classes, the witch, the graphics, the mount. It's like everything that you want, but I feel like it's going to be right this time. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like
No,
kind of what we wanted from D4, but nothing that's wasted or doesn't make sense or kind of like, hot take. I don't like the open world in Diablo 4. I think it's kind of silly. That just feels like a waste. Like none of the stuff that I'm seeing with PoE2 feels like a waste or anything like that. So can it just be November already?
I
Like,
know it's 5 months. I just told people earlier today, we're closer now than we ever have been before, like almost officially. It hasn't been
sheesh.
announced the release date or anything, but we're close. Okay. And
Yeah.
that point you brought up about the game looking slow, in prior updates and the prior playtest, like the big one in March, where a bunch of playtest footage was released, including mine. I felt that, dude. It felt like, so
Yeah.
the way I can best describe it after playing it a week ago and 3 months ago, I was making backward progress in the game in
Uh-oh.
March. Like I would fight a pack and I'd have to, okay, one pack down, TP back to town,
Uh-oh.
refill my flasks, do all this stuff, right? And I wasn't just having that rolling momentum. This time, I was just going. We were killing monsters,
Yeah.
getting loot, fighting bosses, finding new areas, finding these secrets, and it just felt so much better. And that polish you're talking about too, where it almost feels like there's no fat at all, but there's also just such richness within the game. Like it's like a dichotomy there, right? There's nothing
Yeah.
wasted, but there's also all this extra stuff. That's exactly how I feel when I'm playing. Like there were secrets that people were finding that they added from the first playtest to now, and they plan on doing that throughout the entire game. They did that in PoE1 this league. You notice like a lot of secrets are in the game now. There's like, Legion monoliths in that first area, stuff like that. That's what they're trying to do. And I love that.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
bringing up like what they're trying to do with it is bringing up the bottom, because I was on the bottom last time. And there are some people who have, crazy skills that don't have that issue. But not
Right.
everybody is very skilled, like myself or a big build
Yeah.
crafter.
Same.
Yeah,
Yeah. I'm,
right?
I'm none of that. Yeah.
Right. All right. So that's awesome. Yeah, super excited, both of us. You like the polish. Now I'm really curious. We've just had a barrage of news updates about Path of Exile 2 in the past 2 weeks. I think they've been the biggest 2 weeks for PoE2 since maybe its announcement. I think this has been way better than ExileCon 2023. You mentioned that you were a little bit skeptical after that announcement of them being split. Um, let's actually go back to that. Why were you a little trepidatious with it? You don't mind me
It
asking.
was, no, it's really just it was the big main concern was the slowness of that. It didn't want to feel like I didn't want it to feel Dark Souls. I didn't want it to feel No Rest for the Wicked. I didn't want it to be
Yeah.
so hard. I would much rather it be complex with your build and
Yeah.
what we're used to in PoE1 than requiring a lot of skill like dodge rolling. When you start hearing dodge roll and stuff like that, that's what you automatically think is Dark Souls, stuff like that. But
Hmm.
again, once seeing all this new stuff, all of that's gone away.
Yeah.
And so I'm, that was the main concern from the playtest, especially guys. Quinn was saying it's ridiculous, which we all like to poke fun at ZDPS Quinn, but that's the kind of people poke fun at me for ZDPS. So
Yeah.
when I heard Quinn say that, I was like, like I'm really gonna have a problem with this. But no, I think me and the chat were talking yesterday. There's some veteran player, which there's a view because there's a lot of new guys coming into the game. A lot of the new guys. Don't have problems with things. And a lot of the veteran guys have been playing 10,000 hours. They have a view of some things that they like and don't like, whatever. But they look at the game through PoE1 lens,
Hmm.
and I think that's where some of the concerns I'm hearing from them are. There's really not a main concern. They just don't know, and that's just the fear of uncertainty. Like change and all that. But
Mm.
I think that I keep telling everyone we're in good hands, man. Like this, sorry, like it's not Blizzard. Like, it's a free game. I'm not worried about them like trying to snatch all our money away. Like, I'm not worried about like, so I'm not having to do any tinfoil hat conspiracy theory stuff because it's a free game and like all they want to do is just make a good game. It's just a totally different feel. So I'm like, relax, like in Goodfellas, it's like, what are you worried about? Relax, you worry too much. Like that's what I feel like right now. Like, it's okay, and there's nothing to worry about.
They
So
care. They care so much.
yeah,
Talking to Jonathan, man, that dude is one. They're setting up these events, dude. Okay, so just we walk into the event. They have like 100 couches set up, and I was like, Jonathan, what are you doing here? And he's like, well, I said if we're selling couch co-op, everyone has to be able to play on a couch. Like it has to
oh
happen.
man,
So they
that's
actually
awesome.
had the company who set up the event carry 100 couches one by one in the freight elevator for the hotel. And they said this has been the
Yes.
most extravagant and ridiculous event we've ever run, almost solely due to the couches. Like they care so much about our experiences and the feedback we're giving. And I know people are a little miffed about it taking so much longer than initially anticipated. But again, as you just said, dude, it's because they're trying to take their time to do it right. They're not rushing it out. They have investors, they have Tencent, but they say, do it the right way. We don't care. We know at the end of the day, you're going to make a good game if you wait. Nobody's saying, oh, well, you got to release in a year and a half or else, we're probably
Exactly.
going to close your studio, maybe fire half the staff. So I'm like, they're not thinking about that. They're not worried. They're not stressed. What they're thinking about is, okay, how the hell can I make the coolest boss fight for this particular area? Or,
Yep.
man, the game director is playtesting minions and saying, like, okay, so I played like, 30 hours with formation minions, not feeling good. Let's make a little change there and see how that feels, right? It's so
Yeah.
cool
The
to
actual
see.
director is playing the game. Imagine that. The actual director is playing the game. But
Really
here's the other
playing the
thing
game.
about it too is there's no giant monopoly deal overlooking that you got to bring somebody in who's known as a closer to get the game come together and then develop it as on the fly as live service and push all that propaganda versus no, we're gonna wait, we're gonna push it back, we're gonna make sure it's good. Y'all will be fine. We got PoE1, we got leagues. Let us cook, let us make the good game. And they're not dumb. They know there's lots and lots and lots and lots of eyes. You're talking about most of my community is waiting for PoE2 because they don't want to play D4, whatever their reasoning
Hmm.
is. They're waiting on PoE2. So I think obviously Jonathan knows that. He's very in touch with everything that's going on. He knows he's got a lot of eyes looking, and so that's why they're trying to make. I feel like they're trying to make the perfect game, and they're really close to achieving it from what I've seen.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mean to go over the top and sound like super shill and all, but
Chill all you
from what
want,
I've seen, it
man.
looks
Do it.
great. I mean,
I have a script in the works where I'm essentially saying Path of Exile 2 is the second chance that Blizzard North never really got.
mm-hmm,
Okay? The
dude,
same devs who made PoE 1, they're making PoE 2, and they learned from a ton of mistakes, and now they have basically unlimited resources, right? Unlimited
yeah.
manpower, so many more designers, right? They're getting the second chance to make the game that they wanted to make in 2007 when they started making the game. When they started making
This
PoE
is
1.
like PoE1 is like the D3 that we wanted,
Yeah.
and PoE2 is going to be like the D4 that we wanted. And I don't know if you've I don't know, did you play Diablo 2 at all?
Oh, I played Diablo 2 starting when I was like 5 years old with my dad.
D- All right, so I get when we watched your crafting video
Oh,
about
yeah.
the new crafting changes
Yeah.
before we got on, and you were talking about the white bases becoming more important. Like, dude, the more that I watch stuff about the game, the more Diablo 2 vibes, and PoE 1 has heavy Diablo 2 vibes, but PoE 2 is carrying that right over. Like, okay, once you got to Hell or maybe Act 5 Nightmare, if you were a sorceress, you started looking for a Monarch shield base for socket, and that was just something that you chased, and it was a white, so you could make your rune word.
Yeah.
And when you said, hey, whites are going to become more important, the scouring's going away, you're going to have to actually plan out what you're doing. Like that is straight D2. So Austin Power style with my hands coming up, like you got my attention on that one. Like because when we first watched it, I was like, oh, I don't know about those orbs going away. And then I had to stop myself and say, stop looking at these changes through the lens of PoE1 and look at it through, okay,
Hmm.
let's see what they're going to do. Because again, we haven't seen but a drop in the bucket of the game.
Hmm.
Have you gotten to mess? I hate to derail us and go talk about crafting, but have you messed with the bench or anything like that?
There
Have
was
they
no
shown you
bench in the
that?
playtest. I played with the orbs a
Yeah.
little bit, but we know the bench is going to be there. Don't know what it's exactly going to do, but the orbs themselves, just the changes where they're giving you like the normal to magic is 1 mod, the normal to rare is 4 mods. That means you have to actively work on the item to continue to progress. You can't
Yeah.
randomly get your way to a 6 mod item, or it's almost deterministic with more RNG because you're going to have to use these chaos orbs to add a mod, remove a mod, and you're going to have to use exalt slams and stuff like that. It's going to be really
Mm-hmm.
interesting to see. I think it's just going to turn white items into actual loot now, and rares too. Because
Yeah.
right now, I was talking about it a second ago, people hide 99% of the items day 2 of a league in PoE1. I
Yep.
think that's BS. So,
Well, and guys fussing me, get a new loot filter. And I'm like, y'all, my FOMO will start, my fear of missing out will start hitting hard if I put too strict of a loot filter on, because I want to
right?
see a little bit of items. You know, even if they're certified waste management sponsored trash,
Mhm.
you know, I still want to see the trash on the ground. Makes me feel special, you know.
See, and you might
But
be able to do that in PoE too, like because the items that were dropped, it wasn't a tremendous amount, but we actually did care when we saw these items on the ground. We were like, oh yeah, we can sell that
yeah,
either for gold or you can disenchant items now to get, what we do in PoE1, where you get the various
yeah,
crafting parts. So they actually
yes,
do matter. And when we were IDing items, my wife got a tremendous pair of boots. It was so exciting, like to find that rare. And I think it was right after the Act 1 boss. Oh, it was just a good feeling. So
nice,
I'm looking forward to
yeah,
that.
oh yeah,
Yeah. Okay, so crafting derailment aside, PoE2
yep,
stuff just came out, bunch of information. The Witch is the first thing I just want to talk about a little bit with you. So
dude,
I've never played minions for real in any ARPG besides when I was 5 when I played D2, Skeletons.
yeah.
I got hard blocked at Duriel because I probably didn't know what I was doing, of course. What are your thoughts on everything related to the minions that we just saw past week?
Yeah, not a minion player either. I mean, I played some of PoE2, not Diablo 2,
Yeah.
you know, because back then you could have, you could have 60 at one point before certain patches a long time ago. You could have
Wow.
20 mages, you could have 20 skeleton, you could have 20 like random monsters except for elites, but you could, whatever monster that you killed, you could resurrect him to fight for you. When I saw what they're doing here, well, before I get into that, when I tried D4 again, I played minions because that's what everybody said. And it was the most boring play styles. Like, this is why I don't play minions, because it's literally just sit back and let the minions do that. Ain't going to be the case with PoE2. The second I saw him pull out the sniper and he was like, oh, you can pull out the sniper and deploy and poison AoE. I was like, excuse me? What did you can command the skeleton to do something, and then you can command them to open a chest and all this. And I was like, oh, okay, they're going to completely redefine how minions are done. And then, I hate to say it, but I was like, well, Diablo 4 is going to be in trouble because that's what a lot of people like to play are minions. There's lots and lots and lots of minion players. Gazzy's one, he loves minions. So he was freaking out about these changes. But do the zombies, I don't even know how many we're going to be able to have summoned, but the one standout thing was when he killed that elite and put it in the gym, and you can use that one like indefinitely. Is that correct? Is that what I understood?
That is
Indefinite
correct.
use of that?
Yep. It's not even unlimited use. It just respawns when it dies.
Yeah. Like,
And it gets
I
all of
was
its
gonna play.
abilities. So it gets those
I was
wild.
gonna
Did you see
play
how
a
it was making
mercenary.
a blood wall in a circle around it? Like it gets all the abilities it had in life. So it's not like, oh, well,
Yeah.
it gets a subset like an auto attack. No, it gets everything.
That's wild. I was gonna play mercenary because it looked really cool, but this changed my mind. I think everyone, their brother's gonna be playing witch now. Like, oh, we gotta play this. And
And
I
he's,
really like, just to interject, I
yeah,
really like how they have split witch up from a sorceress class. I really, 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 really like that. Even though we kind of hadn't seen much about that. I feel like that gives somebody a true necromancer class without having to be a skinny, pale, stinky, ugly, walking corpse. You can actually have a decent looking character. So I really
I
like that as
mean,
well. I think that's
Hog,
cool.
they have jiggle physics in Path of Exile too.
Yeah, yeah.
Just,
I mean,
I'm just gonna say it. We noticed it. We were at the demo, we were on the character screen, moving around, and we were like, oh my God, it has jiggle. Wait, they actually look like the character models look really damn good. The sorceress and witch, they look pretty nice. So it's exciting stuff.
Awesome.
Good job grinding your games.
Yeah. I mean, and I can find negative in anything, and it's been now that speed thing is dispelled, it's been really hard for me to find anything like standout negative that I've seen so far. It's just not there, and I'm not the guy to just be overly positive. It's just not there for me yet. I'm sure maybe something will come around I don't like, but so far so good.
My only negative thing that I've seen like around PoE2, I'm a little scared about it, is it's going to destroy people's computers. I just like, it looks so good. I don't know if it's going to be optimized super well. It played well on the PS5, which was shocking. There was only one area where we had screen clipping and frame drops. That's the one thing that I'm kind of scared about now. It's free to play. Yeah. That means a lot of people can access it very easily, including those with low-end PCs and everything. It is nice that it's on consoles and that's all cross-play, but I'm a little skeptical, especially at endgame. Like, people are scared about packs going away and that ridiculousness fading. I was in the hunting grounds, which is an Act 1 area, and I had at least, 45, 50 monsters on my little screen in Act 1. It was pretty crazy. Yeah. I don't think that's going away at all. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think, again, I think a lot of people are scared too because they've played Diablo 4. And I don't really think it's fair to compare Diablo 4 with their density and all to what can be done in PoE2, because I don't think there's the engine limitations or anything with what PoE2's got going on.
No, they built it in mind. With the packs. Yeah. It's not like D4 where they're like, oh, well, our engine can't. Yeah, it can't hold up the engine. Packs. PoE2 can, because PoE1 can.
When you have your game director say you have to sacrifice art and sacrifice this and sacrifice that to get 10% more mob density, I've never heard Jonathan or Mark say that ever. But have you noticed a PoE1 talk? Have you noticed a performance difference from last league to this league? Have you noticed that this league's a lot more taxing on your system?
I didn't.
You didn't? Okay.
I have a very nice system though. Did you?
I got a Ryzen 9 5950X and a 12 gig card, and if you get, like, I'm playing Scourge era, I'm playing Connor's build that Steve's running right now. If you get that with someone with Flicker Strike in a like a sim, you start getting some FPS drop. I mean, my machine is not something to be, it's not a piece of junk. But I was just wondering, my boat laptop, I do streams from my boat. Once I updated it, it'll blue screen if I try to play this league on there now. So and stream at the same time. So I just was wondering if that was if anyone else had noticed that. But even my buddies that play, like, man, the FPS drop is a little much on this. So hopefully that, just like you said, they built the engine around there, so I don't think that'll be an issue. Hopefully it won't. Maybe it's just an inherent PoE problem with all the AoE and the badass skills, and I don't know, man. It's just part of it. Maybe it's just part of the experience. We're killing so much stuff. We got so much stuff going on. It locks the game down. It's almost kind of fun. I did that with my ward looper. Just locked down the screen.
Now I'm curious, on the minion front, on the witch front, we talked a lot about this the other day. If you could have them add one minion into the game, what would it be?
I don't know, because they're there. I would say, and let us take an elite, but they're letting us do that. They're letting us do custom Skelly Mage. So if you want a Lightning Skelly Mage or Fire Skelly Mage, they letting you do a Skeleton Warrior. I personally don't care about golems. I don't think I've heard much about, are we getting golems?
We haven't heard, but I presume they're one of the beloved archetypes, so I think they'll be in PoE2.
So I know some guys use them for buffs. I personally don't care about them, and I know you can impale a skeleton on a thing to buff your minions with that. Again, that's what I'm saying. Like, they've already thought about it. You know, like, is there something you see that you'd like? I mean, I don't think we need to, again, we can revive the elite, so why would you need an army of the monsters that you've already fought? You can just revive the elite, and he's way more powerful.
When I heard
you diversify your army.
Yeah, I heard that they had big minions incoming. The one that I want most, and it's not confirmed, is a freaking massive bear. That's what I want more than anything. Like a bear companion that you can summon. That's a cool. Big beefy one.
Like companions.
Yeah, I really want that. That'd be great. Because I'm not a big fan of all the minions on my screen in addition to all the monsters. I know a lot of people love that. I'm not.
Yeah,
They can enjoy that. I would
right.
love if I could have an actual large scale minion that I could command around and play with.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be so rad. Oh,
You know what? I want to ride something like that. Like I'm gonna start this Dear Jonathan stuff. I think my next Dear Jonathan is gonna be. We need to ride with all these mounts that we got. I need a gator and I need a hog in there. I want to jump on a dang hog with big cutters and ride him around, or a gator.
I want a rhino, dude.
And I'll pay for it too. I don't
Oh, yeah.
care.
Dude, I want a rhino. I want a triceratops.
Yeah.
I'm biased.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. How cool would that be? I mean,
Yeah.
go
Endless
for it, guys.
possibilities.
Oh, by the way, there are pigs in PoE2 as enemies. Flaming pigs. And when they hit you, they like leap into the air and they explode. It's hilarious. It's
My
hilarious.
family's coming at everybody. That's what I'm talking about. Oh man.
So good. Okay. So that's enough about the witch. I want to talk about your take on the console stuff. I saw your video. I watched it about all the different takes that people had about consoles and how that was bad for Path of Exile. Can you give your rundown of what you think about that? Let me know.
I think you're gonna see it. I think you can take out the name Path of Exile 2 and put in any other game. I think it's something that you see. Any game that has a community of people behind it that is cross-platform, you're gonna see when there's changes or something new, you're gonna see a split in the community, because there's always gonna be guys that they don't want new players coming in. You see it in WoW, you see it in Diablo, you see it in PoE. You know, whatever the percentage of those people are, there's always somebody there that doesn't want new players because they think it's going to dilute the experience, or there's also a badge of honor, unsaid badge of honor of 10,000 hours, and you got to put your time in, and you weren't here when it. All of that plays into when they hear console and they hear PC together, because they automatically assume that the game is going to be catered to console or made for console and ported over to PC, which is not the case in here. It's a PC game that's ported to console. So uh, when you have a console game that's made for PC, if people have the assumption that there's a lot of sacrifices that are made there, which sometimes that's true. But I don't think that's going to be the case here, because it's the other way around. It's a PC game. They're making it for console. They're making it so everybody can play. The skill tree is still very complex. There are some things like the gems and the links going away, the colors going away, stuff like that. That people are, but again, it's like I said earlier, it's looking at PoE2 through the lens of PoE1, and so they just don't. There's people you're not going to convince either way that this is going to be fine for the game. They're going to be negative about it. And I think it's an overall positive thing, because, to be honest with you, the console guys, from my community's experience, they feel locked out from the PC world. They feel like the PC world is where it's at. If they don't have a PC that can handle PoE, they're forced to play on console. The trading prices are way higher. The player count's lower. So they're ecstatic about this stuff because they want to be part of the community. They don't feel like they're part of the community. It's really what it is. So I think it's cool. I think it's also a necessity. PoE1's 10 years old? This is a modern game. If you don't have, especially with Diablo 4 out, you have to have certain things to compete with that. It is your competitor. If you don't have couch co-op, if you don't have WASD, if you don't have controller support, if you don't have these basic things that are almost like benchmarks in today's age, you're automatically going to have problems with, people are going to do negative reviews and start taking a big dump all over, all of that stuff. You don't want that. So I think they're also trying to have a seamless what's the word I'm looking for? Compromise that's not going to make too many people mad. But I think it's good for the game. It needs to be brought together. We need to have one big community. I don't think it's going to kill complexity at all. I don't know what your thoughts on that are, but I think it should have happened a while ago, where it was made seamless. Everybody should be able to trade across. You should be able to be in the same guilds and all that stuff.
I don't think they're dumbing down the game in the slightest, man. I mean, I think there's just going to be another level of complexity. A lot of the complexity in PoE1 comes from, one, the skill tree. Okay, that's staying basically the same in PoE2. It's actually being evolved a little bit. Two, the items. Those are essentially, again, staying the same in Path of Exile 2. We have all the modifiers, we have crafting systems. Those are being changed a little bit to simplify them, yes, and to get rid of the spamminess of them. I am
Hmm.
going to be so glad when I never have to spam 10,000 alteration orbs on an item again.
You
I
know how
mean, that's
long
going to
that
be an
takes?
insane change.
You know how boring that is on stream when everyone's like,
Terrible.
yesterday, for example, hey, let's fix this. No, like I know it needs to be fixed. It will take an hour to
Mm-hmm.
fix one little thing and get the rolls right and get 25% increased effect and get
Mm,
this and get that and get this. No.
yeah.
So yeah, no, I'm all on board with what you're talking about there. Yeah, make it simpler. So I want to crush. Everyone jokes about my 1,100 hours in the game. Is half of that's in the hideout. Look at Belton.
Right?
But
Yeah.
Belton never leaves the hideout. And
Nope.
so that's the other thing. Like they're trying to, I feel like they're trying to push us out of the hideout a little bit and let us
Yes.
just keep blasting where all the fun is.
And they're building more complexity in the gameplay itself, and that's what I'm really excited about. People
Yeah.
hate combos and all the different skills that they want to encourage you to use, but you guys, it felt so good. Everybody's talking about one skill from the playtest, the Tempest Bell. Simple ass
Hmm.
ability. It's a bell, you hit it with abilities and it causes a nova. That's a combo.
Dude,
Everybody's so excited about it. It is so
dude,
satisfying.
I'm really excited about it because it was in Diablo 3. It was a
People are
monk
saying that.
thing
I
from
didn't
Diablo
know.
2. Yes. And so not only was it a damage dealer, it was also like it was the most OP build for monk was the bell. But you could also be a support monk because there were supports and all, try to do 150s. And there was an Archon wizard. It's a
Mm.
very, very, very difficult rotation to get down. You had to practice and practice, but it was giving me a little bit of, I'll say, a little PTSD and a little throwback to my buddy Arctic going, Hawg, more bells, more bells. And I'm sitting here, wah just trying to cast bells as fast as I can. And I got arthritis in my hand from trying to spam bells so he can get his shield up and get the count up and hit this. Like, people don't understand how much fun something as simple as a skill like Tempest Bell brings to the game, because now you've got an objective that you hold. You can almost team build around the Tempest Bell. Okay, you hit
Yep.
this with this and you do. It opens up so many possibilities. And again, if you look at it through the lens of PoE1, you're not going to see that. You're going to be obtuse and go, that's stupid. I don't want, like, that's what we can't have. You got to be excited about it, which is what I was trying to preach to everybody. Hey, if it all comes out and it's horrible, then we'll just have a field day ripping on it till it's
Oh,
fixed.
you know it, dude.
That's the
You know
worst
it.
thing, but it's not going to happen that way because I haven't seen, I mean, yeah, if you don't like graveyard crafting, whoo, but the rest of the, I mean, usually what they do is a pretty big W. Not everything, but overall, they're a great developer company. They're in tune with everything. They know what their community wants for majority of the part. Like, I just don't have any fears about it.
Yeah.
No one's picking on Mark like, other guys, making memes about him and all. Like, none of that's happening because he's doing a good job.
Oh, yeah.
Or I mean, Jonathan, I was, sorry, they might as well
Oh, they're
be
both on
brothers
PoE2,
and the
dude.
same guy. I mean, they're like connected at the hip. I feel like they're always together, always talking, they're always bouncing ideas off each other. Or, an interview, they're saying me and Mark this. I mean, when you have a good team like that, it's really hard to make catastrophic mistakes, I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah. And actually, just recently, that interview I referenced earlier with Balor Mage and Catmaster, they actually talked a little bit about the end game of PoE2. And Jonathan was almost set on showcasing the end game a few months back.
Mm.
Like, he wanted to show people, okay, you know what? Everybody's asking for it. Let's go in. Let's show them the end game. And Mark was like, no, I'm going to talk you
No.
off the ledge. Okay, we don't want to do this. And
Don't do it.
here is why. They want to showcase Endgame once they have a complete experience from Act 1 to Act 6, and then they enter maps, which are going to be the Endgame. They don't want to boost up a character to level 80 and say, all right, yeah, guys, this is what it's going to look like.
Did you say level 6 or
Huh?
Act 6?
Act 6,
We
yeah.
don't have to do 10 acts.
No 10 acts.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
There's only 6 acts. There's only 6 acts. But
yes.
Dude, do you, so you a campaign hater? Would you like a campaign
No.
skip option?
No. I'm not a campaign hater, but I do feel the campaign's too long.
Too long?
It is. I like, now that I've gone through it a few times, it gets better. Just as everybody said, like, oh, once you get through it a few times, it's fine. But I do feel like it's too long. If it could be, I've always kind of said 6, 7 acts would be perfect. So that's even better. Feel like Act 6 through 10, you're kind of repeating the same acts with a little
Same
different
areas, you
variation
know?
of, it's just let me go to maps and give me some hard stuff to do there.
Yeah. Hey, man.
But so that's awesome.
I think there's going to be some hard stuff to do in the acts. I'm pretty excited about that.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
Engaging.
Oh
It's
yeah.
going to be nice. Oh gosh, what was I saying? I was on some tangent there. Now I'm forgetting it. That's
Derailed.
okay.
Amtrak came through. Hog
I,
track came through.
I've got another thing to talk about here, and it's something that's pretty topical, and that is Path of Exile 2 is likely going to be going into early access in November. I don't want to talk about any other news that we might get between now and then. Its competitor is launching its first expansion on October 7th. So, how do you think they're going to go head to head? What do you think this is going to look like? Because obviously Diablo 4 has a much larger audience. Blizzard has a massive reach. This is almost very similar to what happened back in 2011 when Path of Exile 1 went into closed beta and Diablo 2 or Diablo 3 was just about to launch. And when that happened, so many people migrated from Diablo 3 to Path of Exile that that's what really kickstarted the entire game. Do you think that's going to happen at a mass scale, or do you think something else is going to go on here?
Oh, hands down.
Yeah.
Absolutely, positively. So the problem with Diablo 4 was, like we talked about earlier, you had a massive business deal that was looming. And take anything else out of it. Let's talk about basic business 101. When you have a deal like that on the horizon, you have to keep things going so you look like a normal company. Everything's cool. Like, you don't want your buyer to get wet, cold feet and go, oh, I don't know. So you bring in a guy that's well known through the industry as a guy that gets things done to launch, ready to go. Because fun fact, Blizzard has never delayed Diablo. Never. Not one time. Like people like to say, yes, they have. No, go look it up. They have never announced the launch date and then pushed it back. They just don't do that. So they had a deadline. They had to get this out. They had to make money. They did a huge marketing campaign. Megan Fox, KFC. I got a t-shirt that says Diablo 4 and KFC on it. Well, I think PoE2 is going to eat Diablo 4 and KFC for lunch, because the mere fact is that when everyone was hyped up, we got a little tiny bit of beta, which is level 25 we were limited to, couldn't see anything else. We all spent a bunch of money on it, and the majority of the people were angry because there's no primevals. There's no storylines. Like, if you're a Diablo guy, it doesn't make much sense because Lilith was actually a lesser evil that you fought. They called her Uber Andariel, but her name in the game is actually Lilith. If you hover over, you'll see her health bar says Lilith. You killed her like wham, like that, on the way to go do Ubers in Uber Tristram. So to me, it was like, why is she here? Well, now it all makes sense with this new expansion that's coming out, and they're selling us Mephisto. Well, if y'all hadn't noticed, it's called Vessel of Hatred. What is Mephisto? Lord of Hate. So there's your first primeval. And so now you got there's going to be another expansion next year, or the year, whenever, the following year after the one comes out. And that'll be where Baal is. That'll be Vessel of Destruction. And then you're going to have the final one, which will be Diablo. They're going to sell you back all that. So everyone's mad. All my community is saying, man, we can't wait for PoE2. And they're all Diablo guys. So I think because of the massive L's that they've been taking, and Asmon covering, and all this bad media press that's on them, it has put PoE2 in a huge spotlight that it probably wouldn't have seen if Blizzard hadn't have fumbled the ball this bad. So I think you've got a good bit of the guys that are they're literally waiting in the shadows for this to drop. I think we're going to see a huge number of players coming in, and I think that Jonathan knows 100% that that's what's going to happen, and that's why they're trying to make it so you don't get skill tree shock. I've already kind of noticed when you pulled up your skill tree, it doesn't show you the entire tree. It
Yep.
zooms in a little bit on where you're starting, so you don't get that initial, I'll never learn this Alt F4 reaction that a lot of people get. They're taking the complexity out with the sockets, because watching my girlfriend play for the first time, never played video games, the sockets are confusing, the links are confusing, the colors are confusing, Alt F4 situation. They're adding in tooltips, keep people engaged, keep people understanding what is onslaught. Here it is. You don't have to look around in italics, try to figure it's right there. This is what this does. It does this, attack speed, movement speed. So I think that they're aware, and I think that we're going to see a huge increase in the player base. I really do.
I thought that was a great breakdown. I totally agree. they're tutorializing the game, keeping players in the game with PoE2 because they know that's where if they can keep people in the game, keep them playing, their gameplay is a step above all other competitors. I think that's where they
Yeah.
have it. You know, the customization, the gameplay. Blizzard might have them in cinematics. Okay, that was a rad cinematic when her arm split open. I mean, that's crazy, but I don't care because that was 8 minutes of my life,
That
and
don't
I want to
impress
spend a lot
me
more
much.
time
No,
playing the
no,
game.
no. Don't cinematics don't impress me. And I wasn't even impressed with that cinematic.
Really?
I'm so over it, dude. I could care less. I guess I'm just at that point now where I've just got such a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah.
But like I'm like you could show me like Jesus himself telling me to come play it, and I'd probably be like, Jesus, man, like I'm good, man. Like I just don't care because I know that it's all fluff. I
Yeah.
know that it's got the same engine. I know that it's gonna be the same thing. There's gonna be 8,000 numbers flying up in my face, and like I'm good. And Asman was right though. What'd he say? One good cinematic away from everybody forgetting everything.
Yep.
And it's but it won't be too much longer. This is how perfect it's going to be, and you know this is what's going to happen. The Vessel of Hatred's going to come out. It's going to be a complete disappointment. It's just going to be some skins and maybe a new little area, and everyone's going to play it for about 2 weeks and go, huh. And then here comes PoE2, and everyone's going to go right over here and play. And what does it always say? Just get to maps and we got you. I
Yep.
think they're gonna get you by Act 2 here.
Oh god,
mean,
dude. With the boss fights. Oh.
The boss fights are amazing. Now, the only thing I'm not a huge fan of is Stagger Bar, but other than that, they look great.
Stagger Bar.
And
Go in on that. Go in on that, man.
Let me before I forget about what you said a minute ago, something about the gameplay. We just got to get you with the gameplay.
Yeah.
When me and my old lady watched the Witch showcase, and she just kind of come sat down and didn't see the title or anything. She said, "Wait a minute, is this Diablo 4?" And she said, "This is Diablo 4. Like, I might actually be interested in playing this." I started laughing. I said, "No, baby, that's best PoE2." She said, "Oh, okay, good." So, I mean, that shows you enough to just by glancing at it, people are like, "Oh, wait, hold on. This gameplay looks that good. The graphics look that good." But the Stagger Bar, it was something I saw in Diablo 4. It feels like you don't do damage until you hit that Stagger Bar, but it's the mechanics don't look the same in PoE2. So it's not really something I've griped about, but
Okay.
maybe it's a little PTSD thing from Diablo 4, like, oh no, a Stagger Bar, like ew. But I think it'll be fine. I'm gonna give it a chance, and like I said, I like to play it before I be really obtuse about something. I don't think that's fair for me just to comment on something I hadn't experienced, which is why I went and tried season 4, because I felt like it wasn't fair to give criticism if I hadn't tried it. So I really like to try to reserve. Because what do I know right now? Try you played it. I ain't played it. You're probably sitting there going, "Oh no, Stagger Bar's great." Like I have not had any experience with it, so my
right
opinion's
now,
null and void on it.
I think the Stagger Bar is a bit too ridiculous right now if you have a lot of CC abilities. So, but I do like it. Now, here's why. I think you're constantly doing damage throughout. They've tuned it pretty well for people who don't have ridiculous crowd control abilities. But there are all those little flourishes too that just make it better. And here's what I'm talking about. Every boss has a unique stagger. What the hell? Like a unique stagger animation. One boss will sprawl on the floor. Another will like take a knee. The Act 1 boss, when he's in his wolf form, he flips on his back and he's like railing.
Okay, I saw that.
That kind of stuff. It's
Dude,
just like the detail.
I stopped the video and was like, did he just knock the boss on his butt? And I backed it up, and boom, the boss fell over and was like kind of trying to scurry to get up, and you were going over there hitting him. I was like, this is cool right here now. You don't usually see a whole lot of that. Now I'm easily amused, whatever. But that was something that was kind of new to me is, wow, you knocked the boss down. Like, oh, okay. Maybe we pretty bad after all.
Oh yeah. It's incredible. I mean, just all the little details, that helps make the game what I think is going to be. I think it's going to be tremendous too, man. I think it might be when it launches next year. I think it's going to be 2025. They want to go 6 months to a year for the early access, beta, whatever. And that's another thing. Oh my gosh. I'm making a video about it tomorrow, or, whoever, if somebody beats me before I release it. Everybody in my comments, I'm getting hundreds of comments saying, try is it a beta or early access? Because they're not the same thing. People have been brainwashed, okay? Because they see things like Diablo 4's beta, which was a weekend where, like you said, levels 1 to 25, Act 1, da-da-da. And they're like, oh, all games betas are like that, you know? You get it for a few days and then it's gone. Path of Exile, no, they're doing the OG beta. They're doing it, you know, months and months and a lot of content, and they want you to break the game and test it and play it and really go in there, not just, yeah, we want to get some more hype for our release, so we're gonna give people the most polished, best part of the game, and we're gonna get all those pre-orders, right? That's not what they're trying to do with this. So it is almost in the sense, you know, I gotta define early access versus beta because people are so confused about it. You know?
So my view of it is a lot of guys are still, again, we're going to come back. It's going to be a common thing I say. We're looking at the PoE1 lens. So they're looking at it as Chris and Jonathan in the garage. We have an early, a closed beta where you got to pay money to get in. I don't think it's going to happen that way at all. I think there's a reason that they're calling it early access versus open beta, closed beta, open alpha, closed alpha test, and player test. They're using the words early access, which to me means everybody's going to be able to play it, which would make perfect sense because everyone's jonesing to play it. So why not get everybody to play it, break it, see what's wrong with it. They will fix it, see what we don't like about it, update it. And then just like they've said, as soon as, you know, they're happy with it, they'll release it into, and it won't be like 7 Days to Die that's coming out of early access 10 years later. You know, they've already set the kind of the timeline, what we expect, you know, you said it 6 months to a year, and then we'll have the full game.
Yep.
And then what's even nice too is everyone's concerned that, you know, some of this stuff's going away. This is just the base. Look how you hear a lot of people talk about how bloated PoE1 is. Well, we got to have a base. You know, hell, PoE2 could be bloated in a few years too, but I think that's me. I think early access will be free. I think everybody else will be allowed in. Everybody will be allowed in. We'll all be able to have fun. I could be wrong, and if I'm wrong, it's fine. I'll say I'm wrong, but I just don't see, especially with Tennyson now owning them and having this huge back end and all this. I don't see why it would need to be a pay to access beta test per se. I just don't see that being
I
a
agree with you,
situation.
dude.
Maybe I'm wrong, but
They're not trying to
you know.
raise money for the game like they were back in Path of Exile 1.
No,
It's going to be free. I think it's going to be free. There's going to be supporter packs, you know, 20, 50, 100, 300. I think they might do the 1,000 again because they did that back then when PoE1 first came out. I think they might go all out and just do an $1,000 one.
Yeah.
I think that's what it's going to be. And then you can just play. If you want to play, go for it.
I'm totally fine with all of those supporter packs, all that stuff. None of it's pay to win, so that's all cool. And I like how the MTX all transfers over, but none of it feels scummy. None of it feels shady. I mean, I had already, by this point in the Diablo 4 pre-launch cycle, I had already called out a bunch of lies. We're going to open the game up to people who have extensive in-game experience in Diablo, and then send out invites to people who have literally never played a Diablo game. Like, that's like, there were so many just fumbles before the game even came out. And all I'm seeing here is just transparency, honesty. Let us cook. We got you. Here's what we've got. Listening to feedback. You know, Gazzy was talking with Jonathan about the UI chain. You know, can we move around the UI? And they're not immediately shooting anything down. Oh, if you guys want it, we'll listen to it. And that just makes me be positive about things.
Yeah.
So when I see people not being honest and not being transparent and saying that they've worked on ARPGs a bunch, and then the next interview they haven't worked on ARPGs at all, like stuff like that makes everybody feel bad. And I'm just not feeling that way. So
yeah, no, I agree with you there, and it's going to be an exciting next few months, dude. It's going to be good.
Oh yeah, I can't wait.
There was one more thing on the D4 front, since I've got a D2 veteran here. There was an interview that recently came out with Rod Ferguson, and he said that they built D4 to be heavily inspired by D2. And with the uber uniques and stuff, you know, how, oh, they want to make them really rare, and that's something that people ended up not liking, and they were complaining, and so now they're shifting their philosophy. Now, I'm curious. If that's the only facet you're taking from D2, I mean, that's not carving it in the same vein as Diablo 2, right? I feel like a lot of stuff has been changed up, and it's not, that almost felt like a bad faith answer to the interviewer, you know?
Dude,
is that true? That
was total. I'm sorry, that was total smoke. Like Dude, I had a massive clan in Diablo 2. Like I had every character except for Amazon and Assassin. I didn't like Assassin. I had every other character in 99. I played before LOD. Like this guy, none of them. I feel like none of them have played Diablo. But to say that there's Diablo 2 aspects besides the name Harlequin Quest, that's it. I feel way more things from PoE 1 and PoE 2, just the visuals of PoE 2, as far as like throwback to D2 than I do there. Anything of Diablo 4. There's nothing in Diablo 4 that feels like Diablo 2 to me whatsoever. None
Yeah.
of it. There's no sets. It doesn't even feel like a Diablo game. There's no sets. There's no Diablo. None of it makes any sense at all. And so I feel like this is again, Amtrak's coming in derail. I feel like they just once everybody got mad and they went to Game Pass, they were just like, man, screw it. The players, OG players are mad. We're just going to make it just easy for everybody who's never played an ARPG to come in, play this game. Game Pass, it's available. Come play it. It'll be fun. You blast a little bit, and then we'll recycle for new content. Every couple of weeks or whatever. But that's every time they talk about a throwback to the old game, they've never played the old game because it's super obvious. Otherwise, you'd have sets in the game, and I know some people don't like sets, but sets have been in Diablo since Diablo 2. It's a part of Diablo. Like, I don't know, man. It's just, no,
Yeah.
it's not. It's Lilith. It's Lilith 1 is what the game is. If they called it Lilith 1, it would be fine. Then do whatever you want, but it's not a Diablo game. There's not even damn Diablo in the game.
No, I love that.
No, again, it's what makes a lot of my community members mad is they say stuff like that. And everyone's like, what are you even talking about? Like, no. So that's a little hot take from all, but there's nothing that I feel is reminiscent of a Diablo game in any way, shape, form, or fashion in Diablo 4.
No, I appreciate it. I don't have the context. I didn't play it a ton when I was a kid, so I appreciate that because I read these interviews and I try to take them at face value, as they're telling the truth. But I get it. It's smoke. So I had to
But
ask.
I mean, to be fair, there's always what comes with Diablo is there's always the complaint that there's no end game. Like that's never gonna go away in Diablo. It's just part of the community complaint. Because Diablo 2 really didn't have if you could consider Ubers being an end game, but it was really just farming Mephisto and Bale and 8-player parties but that's missing also. The 8-player parties, that was huge. The party aspect of the game is completely gone. Even that's why Gazzy, if you caught the Gazzy interview, Gazzy was talking with Adam Jackson. And so what about supports and what about stuff like that? And he just looked so confused. Like, why are you asking me about supports? Well, for some guys, that was a real integral part of the game was the social aspect and putting people together. And we had a team rotation where we would push 150s every single night. We all had a role. We all had to try to improve our play style, our items, try to get primals, try to do this and like fish maps and try to beat our time. Like we could play for months and months and months and months and never get bored because there was at least some kind of fun aspect to the game.
Right.
And that's another thing that's missing. It just ain't there. So no, they ain't play it. If they had played the game, they had an OG veteran in there to play the game, they would understand what's lacking in the game, and they just don't understand what's lacking.
The fun is so important. And when I played PoE2, that was probably the most fun I've had in a game in a very long time. Like sitting there playing with my wife, coach co-op, just like you said, you were playing with your friends, supporting them, and all that. It was such a good experience, man.
Yeah. And it makes it, it would be to the point where we're like, we playing tonight? And we all be on Discord, we're ready? Or what time? That's what I'm just, every time that I played D4 with friends, because I liked playing a druid, and it's the slowest class, I would just be in the high chair, what I call in the high chair, getting carried, just be sitting around, and my buddy Ebian would just be pulling me in the high chair with a rope around because everyone's faster. And I'm like, did y'all play the game? You didn't think like, oh, we probably should make everybody about at the base character at the same speed so they could at least be on the same frame with each other because you're walking around with the druid and everyone's 5, 6, 8 screens ahead of you just wiping the dang floor. And a lot of people say that's a skill issue, but I'm talking about pre-season 1, on game launch, that's a huge problem. And then you got a bunch of chores you got to go do and to get power, and you got to go do a bunch of altars. Now, it would be cool if we had like altars of Chris around the world that we didn't have to get for power, but it would just say, hey, I'm Chris Wilson, something cool like that would be cool. But like forcing me to go find all these things to do things like, And that's again why I try to encourage everyone to be positive, because everything I see is just about advancing. Keep in the game, keep having fun, keep pushing, keep doing. Not, hey, you got a bunch of chores for you can do this, and you got to go get reputation here, and we're forcing you to go see this part of the map, and we won't let you do this because it could break this and this and that. I'm just,
And all this stuff is like optional.
It's a true play your own way.
Yeah.
They marketed D4 as a play your own way game, and you get in the game, and there's like 5 builds you can do, and that's it. There's no variety. There's no nothing. You can't play your own way. It's and now I've noticed this season is you got to play bugged builds, and that was straight out of the best player in the game, Rod's mouth. If you're not, you got to, every good build is bugged. I don't want to do that. I want to play fixed stuff. I want to play, I don't want to be forced to play a build that I don't want to play because it's bugged and most OP thing in the game to make people want to play with. It's just a broken mess. Like I said, we go on for 4 or 5 hours all night long.
You did say that. You did say that. Now, that was a fire rant. We're almost at an hour here. I want to close out this pod with a little bit of a prediction from you, because you're kind of like a Nostradamus, right? You predict what was happening with D4, right?
Hogstradamus.
There you go, Hogstradamus. That's the new name. Change the channel name now. Okay. We're gonna learn a ton of new stuff about PoE2 in the next 4 or 5 months before early access. GGG Live is 1 month away, about mid-July. What do you think they're gonna reveal next? A class, end game, some other system like mounts we don't expect? What do you think?
Probably another class. That's what I would think.
Think so?
Either that or if they have a new end game system that's not anything we've seen. But I think they're gonna wait until maybe October for that. But,
now, Hawg, not to go back to D4.
Yeah.
Would it be insane if they revealed the Templar as a wholly focused class just to, curb stomp?
Just as a troll? Yeah. That would be absolutely epic, because everyone's dying for a paladin class. That's all they've begged for is paladin, please. That would be really cool. You said there was 8 classes. Have they announced every single class, or are there a couple that are high?
They have 8 classes announced and showcased. They said early access will have 8. 12 are going to be in the game on the actual 1.0 launch. Yeah, 12. Yep.
Oh.
So the 4 that they haven't shown are the Templar, the Marauder, the the Shadow, and the Duelist. There's still 4. But they said 8 will be in the game definitely for early access. That's what they're aiming for, at least. So
that's good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, I think it'll be they're going to continue to showcase classes is what I think. But again, I'm kind of still new to GGG, so I don't know what their habits and all are. I can pretty much predict Blizzard because I've been around so long for over there. But this is all just kind of new. It's still kind of a surprise. Like what are they going to do? Like when I heard Mark say the S word, he said, we give us, and I'm not trying to cuss on your podcast, but
oh, dude,
when
good.
He said that, I was like blown away. I was like, wait, did he just say shit? Like that? Hell yeah. Like, all right, now I know we're dealing with some real guys, like this little thing, the surprises like that I like. But I don't know. Everything's a surprise to me. I think it'll be class. They'll continue to showcase classes till we get a little closer, and then they'll start dropping some bombs on us that'll just make us just go into super hype mode. But I was trying to restrain myself. I was trying not to jump on the hype train. I'm trying to keep it at bay. But the more they keep dropping on me, the harder it is to not get on the train. Like, all right, calm down. Learn your lesson from D4. But no, it's I'm pretty damn excited about it. It's looking epic.
Oh, it's gonna be phenomenal, man. And today, this was awesome talking to you, dude. I love talking about Path of Exile too. I could, like you said, sit here and talk for hours, but my wife really wants to go out to lunch, so we're gonna go out to probably a nice restaurant. She is 8 months pregnant, so I really gotta make sure that we're doing what she wants right now.
Man, you got your hands. You got a bunch of youngins now, don't you? You got like 5,
That's gonna
12,
be number
18.
number
2? Okay, all right.
Not totally bad yet. It's not.
I thought you had more than that. I'm like,
yeah,
you starting a new army,
right? Now, man, can you let everybody know where they can find you? YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, wherever. It was wonderful talking.
Yeah, man. YouTube, Hawg TV, Twitch, Hawg TV. Just got on X, Twitter, if you want to follow me over there. Yeah, I don't know why he changed the name of that. We got an old fish camp down here called Jack Wingett's Lunker Lodge.
Yeah.
And everybody that buys it, they changed the name. And I finally asked the last guy, I said, why don't you just call it Jack Wingett's Lunker Lodge? He said the daughter of Jack wanted $1,000 to use the name.
Oh,
I said, why don't you just pay her the $1,000 and call it Jack so everybody knows what it is? You know.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. Anyway, Twitter. It's that one's the real Hawg TV. You can follow me over there.
All right.
It's not a real big deal, but YouTube and Twitch will be fine.
all right, perfect, man. It was wonderful
Try.
chatting.
Thank you, man. This was a lot of fun. I
Oh
appreciate
yeah,
it.
100%.
We'll
We'll have
again.
to do it, you know, next big announcement where we can get back on, chat a little bit.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
when they go head to head, I think that'd be a pretty fun pod.
Yeah. Oh, and I think what Lee launches 26. That's right. July.
Yeah, we're guessing. Nothing's confirmed. We're guessing probably around that date.
Yeah.
That's gonna be fun
Well,
too.
just another highlight. You said I was right about a lot of stuff. As everyone said, when's the league gonna be? And I said, well, they're gonna wait until after the playtest. They're gonna let everybody get hype about PoE2, and then they're gonna hit us with the new league, and we'll play that, and then we'll be ready by the time that the new league is about wrapped up.
Hogstradamus.
It'll be time, baby. It'll be
You're
time.
predicting it, man. It's a lovely time.
So-
I'm gonna stop
All
it
right,
off
bud.
now. Teleker, everybody.
sir.
Talk to you later.